show for Minnesota Vikings fans. Tune in each week for our preview and post-game shows. Follow, share, and like this channel. The regular season comes to an end at US Bank Stadium this Sunday. The Vikings will look to end the year with a winning record, finishing it with 5 straight wins. Will J.J. McCarthy end the year with a 6-4 record? And will Justin Jefferson get his 1,000 yards receiving? Will the Packers sweep the Vikings as they get ready for the playoffs? It's the border battle for the 130th time. Packers and Vikings. The fellas break it down now.
Good evening on the final preview, official Purple School Squad show for Minnesota Viking fans of the season, as we are literally hours away from the Packers and Vikings concluding the 2025-2026 season. Tony Bell, the question that we will ask everyone here today, I pretty much sure know what your grade's going to be and my grade's going to be, but how would you grade the Minnesota Vikings season? Basically, it's an F. You failed. It's a failure. It's an epic failure for all the expectations that went into the season, for how it is going to finish tomorrow. I don't care if they end on a 5-game winning streak and take this into next year and everyone's trying to spin it as positive. It was an epic failure, Tony Bell. They get an F from me. But you know what? Someone might say, hey, the development of some young players, maybe there's some positives to look at it. In my eyes, it's not. It's just they didn't get to where they were supposed to be, plain and simple.
You don't make the playoffs after you make the playoffs. You win 14 games the year before, and then you only win 8 this year. That's an epic failure. Epic failure. With the talent you had on this team, that's an epic failure, and it starts at the top.
Starts at the top and trickles its way down. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and there's some important decisions coming up. We'll know maybe as soon as Monday as well. There is some NFL games going on today, some very important NFL games going on today, and also there are a couple games tomorrow to look out as well on the schedule. The biggest one will be the Baltimore Ravens traveling to Pittsburgh to battle the Pittsburgh Steelers. The winner wins the NFC North, or in AFC North, win the division, go to the playoffs, the losers out. Right now, we're seeing Seattle late third quarter as they enter the fourth quarter.
It's the beginning of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they're kind of just running their way towards a victory. It's kind of sloppy. It was 10-3 at last look for me. Tony will have any updates. He's watching the game as we speak.
It's 3rd and 7, beginning of the fourth quarter. 3rd and 7, Seattle with the ball at the 9 or 14-yard line. I'll give you a quick play-by-play here. Darnold in the shotgun, 3 wide receivers, 2 to the left, back to passes. Darnold under a heavy rush. He scrambles, throws out in the flat, caught by the tight end, who is down immediately for about a yard, so it brings up 4th down.
So the Seahawks are threatening. Awesome play-by-play by Tony Bell. That's what you get here on the official Purple School Squad show for Minnesota Viking fans. He will have the up-to-the-minute update on that one. That is a very important game. The winner wins the number 1 seed in the NFC. Now, earlier today, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tony, they won a kind of sloppy game. The only touchdown was Otten of the Buccaneers. They managed to outlast the Carolina Panthers, who really took a step up this year. I think there'll be some positive things for them to build on, but the Panthers were just not ready to take that next step. Mm-hmm. And now the Buccaneers are sitting at 8-9 with a chance to win the division. Kind of like old school NFC Central, right? So,
one thing about this game this afternoon, old school game played in the rain. You know what the problem was? There was no mud on the field. Not a bit of mud on the. It's old school as far as the weather, but there was no mud.
Yeah, you kind of like to see that. That's kind of football.
Yeah, that's football.
Right? Kind of remembering the Rams Vikings and classic games played out here when it rained. And I'm going to tell you right now, just as a weather forecaster, we've gotten more rain in the last 8 to 9 days in Southern California than this whole state has gotten.
It's like we're in Seattle, and
It's like
I
we're in
agree with
Seattle. It's
Anthony
depressing.
Tollison. Go
It's got to
Patriots.
stop. Like, no more rain. We've had enough. Okay, Anthony
Really,
Tollison.
really, dude, you had to go there.
Seattle
You
and New
had to
England
go there.
Super Bowl could be what we are seeing. But just to finish up, the Buccaneers.
Anthony's my favorite.
The Buccaneers have to sit tomorrow, like all of us, and watch as Kirk Cousins tries to win an important game in his career and knock out the Buccaneers, and would send the Panthers to a division title at 8-9.
Can you believe this? It's like your playoff life depends on Kirk Cousins.
Oh my Lord! Oh my God! This is actually, that could be a good thing for the Saints, right? So, or should I say the Buccaneers? The Saints are their opposition. I will tell you what, the Saints have played very, very well here down the stretch.
They have.
And there are signs that they're going in the right direction, Tony Bell. So this is not an easy game for the Falcons. In fact, I think it's kind of an even game. Could be a classic Falcons-Saints game from the past, where it's going to go down to the wire and some kind of crazy play might decide it. So that's one of the only other games that's really important to watch tomorrow. Everything else, pretty much status quo. You're going to see a lot of people resting players, I think, for the most part, unless they're going after some records.
We are getting a lot of preseason football in the last week. And when I say preseason football, we're going to be looking at some players that wouldn't be playing.
Right, which leads us to our game, which is really a glorified preseason game for the Vikings. The Packers are playing for nothing. They're the 7th seed as they go into the playoffs, so you will see some interesting names on the field for them. They're just hoping not to get any injuries. That's what the Packers are hoping for. They could really care less if they win or lose that game. It'll be the 130th meeting between the two teams. So Packers hold a 66-60 edge with 3 of those games ending in a tie. The Vikings are looking to kind of, Tony, make up for the embarrassing game. You might argue that game at Lambeau Field was the worst one of the 2025-2026 season for the Vikings. It was really a hard game to watch. Seattle game might have been worse. You can determine which game was the worst, but I think the Vikings and J.J. McCarthy tomorrow will start. I think, as we look at the purple headlines, Tony Bell, I think it's kind of important for him tomorrow to play effectively, end the season on a winning note for him. If he wins tomorrow, the season will end for him 6-4. So all these people that hate on J.J. McCarthy, that just, for whatever reason, there's some Minnesota fraction, a lot of them are Kirk Crusaders, they just can't stand this guy. And his first full seasons, if he goes 6-4, granted it's not where he wants to be. The season is not, he played through a lot of injuries. That's the biggest question moving forward with J.J. McCarthy. But for the most part, Tony Bell, I think we saw enough in a couple of those games to say that he's ascending upward. There's an upward. If he can just stay healthy, I think he's the future quarterback for our Vikings, and I think he'll lead us to big things.
Here's the thing. If you really want to blame somebody for this year, stop blaming JJ. Start blaming KLC. The same game plan every week. Didn't matter who was at quarterback. You saw what he did to Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz basically had his friggin' arm hanging by a ligament, and he still went out there and played.
That was probably the most horrific game, right? We could say
that Charger game was
Seattle, but the most horrific game to watch was that game out here against the Chargers.
That Charger game was like I said before, it was a statement game for Jim Harbaugh to the Viking organization.
Yeah, he wanted to win that game. And
he wanted to win that game, and he wanted to embarrass.
And the Chargers beat him by just punching him in the mouth with running the football, power football, and Carson Wentz was just hurt. You could see it right in the beginning of that game. And Vikings kind of turned right away when Rodgers had what looked like an interception return for a touchdown, and instant replay turned that around. And then from that moment on, it was all Chargers. And
once again, there was that stretch of games, even the games we won.
Yeah,
where KLC did not adjust the offense at all to help even a veteran quarterback who hasn't played all year, like a Carson Wentz. He's still running the same offense, and that's the problem. You have to make adjustments for your personnel. And that offensive line was bad all year. I think we only had the starting 5 that was picked that we slated was supposed to start. I don't think they started until the Washington game.
Yeah, that's
altogether.
really it was a calamity of all kinds of things that just
It
weren't
was just
right.
a colossal
Injuries
error.
were huge this year. KOC's play calling, lack of adjustments, just leaning too much on the pass and not the run. Something he needs to progress and learn from, and really make a change.
Here's the thing, though. He's going on year 5.
Yeah, when's an old dog going to learn new tricks?
He's going on year 5. What does he have to learn?
Yeah, he might. You're right. We know he's stubborn. And this will lead us to talking. We're going to talk about Lamar Jackson in a little bit and all the speculation that's out there that maybe the Vikings, on a story that was written, would be the top team that could be Lamar's new home. But that's just not going to happen for various reasons. We'll discuss that in a little bit. We'll call that Lamar or not to Lamar. As far as other things to look forward to tomorrow as we preview the Packers-Vikings games, I think one of the nicest things for tomorrow will be seeing those beautiful, gorgeous, classic jerseys, Tony Bell, which they should just go to.
They need to be full-time.
They need to be full-time.
Those need to be the full-time uniforms.
Okay? Go to these uniforms. They're the best. Also, I would argue he's in the top 5 of all-time favorite underrated Vikings. Jim Klein-Sasser will be blowing the Gallo horn tomorrow. That good Sass did all the things that you love that he didn't get publicity for. He's kind of a player the Vikings need now, right? Physical, tough, obliterating defensive players on blocking schemes. We kind of had that with Josh Oliver a little bit. They need a Klein-Sasser somewhere next year, either through the draft or free agency, to come to Minnesota, but he'll be there blowing the Gallo.
They need to get tougher across the board on offense, and that starts with the head coach.
The game went from being a Sunday night game, Tony Bell, to not even being on the Fox broadcast anymore. They just gave it up. But there you go.
He's going to CBS.
CBS has it. Spiro Dides and Adam Archuleta will have the call. John Hussey will be the referee crew if you care about that for betting purposes. John Hussey will be there. He likes to throw flags, so expect an elongated game with lots of yellow flags going around in a preseason game tomorrow. But those are some of the details of the game. Again, we're asking you out there, who is the 2025-2026 Minnesota Vikings MVP? If I was to give the MVP or the Game Ball of the Year award, I'm just going to give it to who I have found to be my favorite player to watch this year, in a tough year to watch them. It's Jalen Redmond, the defensive tackle. Love him. Think big things are headed his way, and I think the Vikings need to sign him up, lock him up, give him the money that they're going to save after they cut a couple players, Hargrave being one of them. He's a guy that I think deserves it, Tony. And, you could argue Will Reichert, but to me, Jalen Redmond personifies the positive thing that was built from this year. I was hoping it would be J.J. McCarthy, but we're still kind of in a question mark mode with J.J., right, because of the fact he didn't stay healthy. That goes to Jalen Redmond, my MVP for the 2025-2026 Minnesota Vikings. Yours?
For me, it was a toss-up between Redmond and Eric Wilson.
Yeah, definitely. Another guy.
Yeah,
really showed out in all these games and earned himself a very nice paycheck, whether that's with the Vikings returning or on another team.
I think it'll be with the Vikings because he is older, and we'll see what happens. But once again, we got to talk about the elephant in the room. Who's going to run that defense?
Yeah, so let's kind of segue into it. There's a rumor going around right now that the Las Vegas Raiders are now all of a sudden very, very interested in Brian Flores. Now, Brian's an East Coast kid, loves the state of New York. I don't know. He didn't take the Arizona job. I think if the Vegas job comes up, he's got to take it. He's got to take it. I mean, because of all the question marks with the lawsuit he has against the league. But this rumor's out there. So we've talked about this is the biggest offseason issue for me, Tony, and I think it is yours too, is signing Brian Flores. But why hasn't it already been done? And there's a couple of things that I think are related to that. And the fact that, one, Brian's going to see what head coaching jobs there are available. I don't think he's going to take a lateral move. I really don't. I don't think it's for another defensive coordinator job. I think he'll stay in Minnesota as long as the money's there. But two, maybe he's just found it, Tony, that this isn't the place for him, that Kevin O'Connell's coaching and reliancy on the passing game does not help his defense out. His ball control, time of possession on the offense is too limited because his defense has to do all the hard work. And Flores is going to – you watch wherever Brian Flores goes, he's going to – whoever his offensive coordinator would be. And you told me earlier before the show, it looks like Josh McCown would go with Brian Flores. If this is a story out there, you can read it. Go look it up. He would take Josh McCown with him. Tony said this all along. This puts the Vikings in a tough situation because I think the one thing we can say is their defense, the last part of the season, has been the best part of their team. And if you lose Brian Flores, that means you have to go to somebody else. And who would that be, Tony Bell? I mean, I think they will stay in-house. I think the Vikings, unless there's a big name defensive coordinator that becomes available, maybe a coach gets fired, a defensive guy, someone that KOC trusts. I would think, they have in-house, they've got Durante Jones, Marcus Dixon is their defensive line coach. These guys predicate themselves 3-4 defenses, but, your thoughts on who you think would be that guy?
Unfortunately, they would be in-house, which means it'd either be Durante or the D-line coach, which neither one of them.
I don't think they're ready. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they've learned enough from Brian Flores to take that with them. I mean, that's what you're hoping.
The thing is, I think with those two, with Brian, you would get pushback, and KOC knows that. With Durante and with the other guy, he's not going to get pushback from them.
No. And it's easy for him to control.
And he knows, and it's easy for him to control the
Flores won't take anything. He doesn't take anything from nobody.
No.
So that is, to me, as soon as the game's over tomorrow, I don't even know why they're waiting that long. Unless, Flores might have already told them.
This was probably going to be an epic failure by the Viking front office.
Well, that, and also I think Flores might be like, hey, I want to wait and see. I just want to wait and see. He's already said all the right things. He said he likes it in Minnesota, doesn't want to leave. His family likes the area. He's built up a nice young defense that I think he sees the pieces.
Or you can go to Vegas, be head of the team, and pay no income tax.
Yeah, well, there are the weather's a little nicer in Vegas. There seems to be a lot more to do. That could be a problem, though, Tony, because there's issues with moving to Vegas. A lot of them. The Vegas Raiders do not have really good home field advantage. A lot of fans from other teams come and pay the high, outrageous ticket prices, and it's like a road game for the Raiders every time they play there. You would assume that Tom Brady will be the recruiting piece since he played under Brian Flores, who was the defensive coordinator when Tom Brady was winning all those championships.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it seems like it's a logical fit from that. In my estimation, I think deep down, if Flores is going to leave, he wants to go to New York. I think he wants New York. There's a couple reasons for it. One, he's from the area.
He's from the area, but the problem is, and this is where the lawsuit kicks in, the Giants are part of that lawsuit.
Yes, they are.
The Raiders aren't.
But what's interesting, a lot of the media's turned their attention on this. And a lot of the media, especially WFAN, for those of you who listen to WFAN, it's probably the biggest radio station sports platform still in this country as far as that goes. They have been pushing for this guy. It's like it's time for the Giants to turn their other direction. This would be the asset to bring in and let someone else. He'll let his offensive coordinator, if it's Josh McCown, worry about the offense. But there's a lot of pieces that the Giants have that would be attractive to Brian Flores.
Well, here's the thing, too. Brian Flores right now is the most ready NFL head coach that's on the market. Now, there's going to be a bunch of openings. Now, say we go through this cycle and Brian still doesn't get an HC job. That tells you right there that Roger Goodell and the higher-ups has something to do with it.
That could still be an issue. Although I don't know how much of it, because remember, Tony, Flores turned down a head coaching job.
He turned down Arizona. I turned down Arizona. I wouldn't go to Arizona. I would not work for the Bidwills.
Yeah,
No.
One of those organizations that are.
And now here's the funny part. I think now they're going to be looking for another head coach. Is Jonathan Gannon is their coach, right?
Yes, another defensive.
I think he might be done now, and also they're going to be looking at what to do with Kyler Murray. So
they've got a lot of questions there. It just doesn't seem to be headed in the right direction there. The Cardinals, another team where they have problems when they play home games. Fans from other teams come mostly and make it a home game for them when they play there. It's just Arizona. It's just tough. It's been a tough football franchise. They've never been able to, since Kurt Warner's been there, take it to that next level.
I do agree with you, though. I don't think Beeflo will take a lateral movement as another DC, but if the money's right.
Oh, well, there is one guy. There's one guy who's probably willing to back up the Brinks truck for him, Jerry Jones. We know that.
Geriatric Jerry, yeah, he'll overpay.
He would pay Flores. I mean, that's the thing. The Vikings are in a losing position right now because they should have locked this up way ahead of time. But you know what?
You know what though?
I'm gonna understand why Flores would want to wait.
I'm gonna give Flores did it right. Just because the team I'm with comes
out on himself and he did it right.
They want to give me an extension on their terms.
And here's the other aspect of it. Tomorrow's only going to put a cherry on top of this Sunday because Brian Flores will be having his defense going after a quarterback.
Oh, my God.
And Packers playing their B-level guys. So you're going to see a lot of blitzing tomorrow, and it's probably going to let Harrison Smith go wild as we segue into our player focus. And really the big story for tomorrow from many Viking fans is, will this be the last game in the storied career of one Harry, the Hitman Smith? Harrison has been tremendous. We probably don't give athletes enough credit for being loyal to their organization. But if anyone on that field, when they play tomorrow, bleeds more purple than Harrison Smith, I don't know who it is. He's constantly taking pay cuts to help the Vikings out. He's one interception shy, Tony, of being in the historic 40-20 club. Whether he gets it or not, I have a feeling the Vikings will be doing something for him. We'll see. I don't know if he's given them any decision about it yet, and I think Harrison's going to take his time because you could argue, Tony, that he's played some of his best football here recently, and I kind of think that maybe some of this will be factored into whether Brian Flores leaves or stays. If Flores stays, I think there is a chance that Harrison Smith will come back, but I think it'll be a weird comeback. I think what will happen is Harrison Smith will kind of go quiet, will contemplate retirement, say I got to go sit down with my family, this and that, just not say anything. And he'll wait out the season process so he doesn't have to go to training camp. And we'll see where the Vikings are after maybe 4 or 5 weeks next year. And then he'd come back for the veteran minimum. And that could happen. I mean, that could happen. And I think that would only happen if Brian Flores stays, because we know Kevin O'Connell loves Harrison Smith. But, I mean, this guy, where would you rank him, Tony, as far as all-time safeties in Vikings history? 6-time Pro Bowler. Again, it's 21 sacks in his career, 39 interception, 10 fumble recoveries, 4 defensive touchdowns. That's a pretty – and also his loyalty. I think, again, more so than anything else, his loyalty to the Vikings. I think that's why fans have really kind of gravitated to him. It's amazing to think, Tony, he was drafted in 2012, right? That's how long he's been in the league. 2012, 29th pick out of Notre Dame, the second pick of that year. Rick Spielman, that was one that Rick Spielman had grand slams that year. And Harrison Smith, because he drafted Daniil Hunter in that same draft, I believe.
No, he drafted
Eric Kendricks, excuse me.
He drafted Matt Khalil.
Matt Khalil was the first pick, that's right. And then Harrison Smith. So Khalil had, I mean, people forget Khalil had a Pro Bowl season his first year and then went downhill. He just couldn't keep the weight on. He had a lot of issues, turnstile Khalil, as people would call it. But Harrison was a guy, I think in Vikings lore, fans might overrate him a little bit, but there are times when you look at it, he was kind of the guy that led that defense. Like he's the guy that kind of spearheads it for him.
He's also been a liability at times too.
Yes, we've seen that. I mean, his coverage skills.
I mean, I'm not taking nothing away from the guy.
No. I mean, we're just being honest. We talk about it. We've seen some.
When he was an All-Pro, he was on top of the game. But as he's gotten older, and nobody's ever defeated Father Time, and nobody ever will.
No.
So
he's
where
36 years old? He'd be 37 next year. At some point, an athlete's got to look at it. And
I probably got him third
all time as far as Viking safeties. Yeah, I mean, he'll be in the Ring of Honor. He'll be, I think he's right on that Hall of Fame cusp. I think he's going to get in because
for this generation, yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
39 interceptions, 21 sacks.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Delton?
Hey, Delton.
What's up to you?
What's going on, brother?
So that's one of the things to look forward to tomorrow. Is in fact, it could be 22's last game as a Minnesota Viking as he contemplates retirement. And, lots of thanks to Harrison for the many years.
Only way I see Harrison Smith coming back, and this is if Flores comes back, but Harrison also comes back as a player coach.
Maybe. Yeah, Flores would love that. I mean, he already is. Flores already trusts Harrison Smith.
Well, here's the thing.
Now, you know what, Tony?
People forgot about this. The safeties coach is going to the University of California, so they got that opening. So guess who steps right in if Brian Flores stays?
Well, Harrison loves Minnesota, loves the area. He's really kind of a chill guy. Harrison's a real chill guy, plays with some attitude. He's tough as nails, plays through injuries. A lot of great things to say about him. But, it could be, hopefully he gets that pick for the 40-20.
Something tells me he's going to get it.
I do too, especially with Tune at quarterback for the Packers.
Who is the quarterback? Who's the Packer quarterback tomorrow?
Something's in it, Tune or
is it Clayton Tune or something?
Clayton Tune, I think is his name.
Oh my God!
Go look him up. You got to look at the media guide for that guy. I don't think his parents know who he is. But anyways, we digress. Who knows? We've seen crazier stories of quarterbacks who have shockingly good performances against the Vikings that have no business doing it. But I doubt it will be tomorrow since the Packers really aren't going to be going 100% at all. They're just worried about injuries.
No, they don't want to.
They're the 7th seed going into the playoffs no matter what happens.
Well, you remember last year the Packers played that last game as if it meant something, and then Love got hurt, and then a couple of the receivers got hurt. So
I mean, these numbers don't lie. As we do our inside the numbers quickly, Tony, I mean, the Vikings are getting they're giving up 8 points, 7.5, 8 points. I saw it go up. The line has that at 35.5 money line. Packers are getting all kinds of money support if you want to bet on it. Plus 310 to plus 390. Vikings are giving up a lot, so you're not going to win anything if you bet the Vikings tomorrow. They're expected to win, and if by Vegas's numbers, they don't find this to be a competitive football game whatsoever. I hope not, because if it is, then it will kind of put a little speed bump on the season, if you would like, as far as, okay, we're finishing strong, but then we lost to a B-level Packers team when the Vikings are going to have, I believe, a lot of starters tomorrow, and I don't understand why, Tony.
This year's a wrap anyway. Who cares?
Yeah. I want to see young guys tomorrow is what I really want to see. I want Xavier Scott to get some carries. I want Ty Felton out on the field. I know if you're the Packers defense, guess what? You should hitch 2-3 guys on Justin Jefferson. Well,
here's a question for me: is Diggs playing tomorrow?
I don't know. I do not know. I think he is. Yeah.
I don't think he's played all year, has he?
No. So,
wow.
Yeah. So Vegas has that the case. Now, the other big story that kind of circulated, and you heard a lot of shows before us get a chance to talk about this, but we throw it out there to you as well. Those are watching us here on our YouTube channel. Thank you for doing so. Like the content. Hit subscribe. It's no cost to you, and you guys can jump on here all the time. What's up to you, Skull State of Mind?
What's up, D Woods?
the whole, the Vikings tomorrow finish up the season, and now the question is this, Tony Bell. Does the front office, does the head coach look at the quarterback position and say, we can't have what happened this year? Let's go big game fishing. And do they say, Lamar Jackson, come on down. Come on down, Lamar. Bring it into Minnesota. Now I got to tell you, this is my favorite quarterback to watch in all the NFL. So you would say, Tony Bell, I should be ecstatic over this rumor. But I also like J.J. McCarthy, and I look at what Lamar Jackson's contract is. He just signed a huge 5-year deal for $260 million. It goes through the year 2029 at an average hit to the cap at $52 million. I think he has some bonuses and things coming out for next year that make it up to $70 million on the cap. Now, I think the Ravens would be responsible for that, which is another reason why I don't think a trade will happen next year. It might happen the year after that. I think the Ravens are kind of tied to Lamar Jackson, though we've heard some reports that Lamar doesn't take these quarterback meetings too seriously. He sleeps through them. He plays too many video games. Oh, well, I kind of know what that is. I love my video games as well. So he's still one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He's a top 5 quarterback. Some would argue top 3. Would you Lamar or would you not Lamar? Tony Bell, you're on the spotlight. You make the call.
No, because he's had too many damn injuries. And he's how old?
He will be 29 next year. He's 28 right now. Obviously, he hasn't. Tomorrow's a huge game for Lamar Jackson, by the way. Tomorrow's a gigantic game for Lamar Jackson. And Pittsburgh's a team that's kind of had his number. The Steelers have also slowed down Derrick Henry in the past. So they're going into Pittsburgh.
Baltimore doesn't win tomorrow. Lamar might be looking for another team, and so will John Harbaugh.
Yeah.
So here's my thing. Now, this is where Viking fans, obviously, none of you have paid attention to the Viking quarterback position because you keep putting these names out here. Now you bring up Lamar Jackson. Okay, people, guess what? What does Lamar Jackson do?
Yeah,
what does he do?
He runs the football, which kind of conflicts with whom, Tony?
And who doesn't like running quarterbacks? I swear to God, nobody pays attention to this. Nobody.
I would think Joe Burrow would be if they were to go big game hunting like this, Tony Bell, it'd be Joe Burrow because that's.
So I'm going to put this out there too. You want to put Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow behind this offensive line?
No, and you wouldn't have any money to afford an offensive line.
And you wouldn't have money. You would have a bunch of.
You probably have to cut more people. They're already
a bunch of Justice Schools playing offensive line.
Oh God!
For God's sakes, these.
I wouldn't wish that on my worst
some of these people can start these. Okay, parental advisory. Can you put that up there, please?
Oh, that's right. We haven't got it up.
For some of the people that start these fucked up, stupid ass rumors about these running quarterbacks coming to Minnesota, they don't fit what KOC wants to do.
It is.
Has anybody watched this team the last 4 friggin' years?
Yeah.
My God, stop it. You sound stupid.
As nice as it would be, I would love Lamar. In fact, I tell you what, Tony Bell, I would trade KOC. I would trade him away like a John Gruden. Hey, who wants KOC? Go ahead. Arizona, you want him? Give us some draft picks, and then I would bring Lamar Jackson in, but I would also bring in a coach that would be the one that would.
I'm going to bring in a. I'm going to bring.
How about this? I would bring John Harbaugh to Minnesota so he can stay in purple and Lamar, and then you can have KOC, and we'll have to cut probably like 10 or 11 players. But hey,
here's the thing: we just got out of a big ass quarterback contract. Now you want to get in another one?
The Kirk Cousins contract of death. Now
we're still paying for that,
and he has a no trade clause as well. He'd have to agree just to get traded out.
He'd have to agree to the trade. And he may not agree to the trade with Minnesota because guess what? Income taxes. So I'm just, he might want to go somewhere that's not that he won't have to pay personal income taxes. It's you got to think about this. And yeah, the names are marquee names. That's
it's exciting. It's exciting to sit here.
They're exciting, but in reality, marquee names don't cut it. Guess what? We had a marquee name at quarterback before.
Yeah, your best bet, and the best bet for the Vikings is to develop number 9. I don't like to say 9 because it kind of, ooh.
I'm gonna say 9 because if he's got that alter ego, fine. That's him. That's 9.
He's a little foolish. He's learning. He's progressing. He's becoming mature. I want to see the Vikings build their own quarterback. I want them to do what they did with Dante Culpepper, to do what they did with Tommy Kramer.
Well, here's the thing with that, Eric. You had real friggin' coaches develop those guys.
Right. And
we don't have a real coach.
Well, that's the biggest issue. If we're even talking about that, with these rumors out there, you have to wonder if Kevin O'Connell in his office has already moved on from J.J. McCarthy. And if that's the case, then it also tells you why KOC shouldn't be our head coach moving forward, because then the whole premise of him being the Vikings head coach was because he was going to be able to develop a young quarterback, and that's a farce.
Here's the thing. This is where the Vikings were lied to. This is where the front office has also lied to you.
Yeah.
As long as KLC keeps asses in the seats, they're okay with this 8-9 this year, like they had 7-10 a couple of years ago, because they have a feeling they're going to bounce back the next year and make the playoffs. What if you don't?
Yeah, what if you don't? What if it gets worse? It could.
And it could.
Year to year changes in the NFL.
And here's the thing. This year could have been a lot worse if not for Brian Flores.
That's right.
Who got a lot out of a
that defense turned it on and changed the direction of the Vikings season.
Oh, and by the way,
people will tell you though, Tony. Some people will sit there and tell you, "Well, too bad. I wish the defense sucked, because that way we would be getting a top, 5."
Okay, I'm sorry you can't play friggin' mock draft every friggin' fucking day to draft whoever the hell you want to draft to build your team. I'm sorry, real world doesn't work like that.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's time for our predictions for tomorrow, final thoughts. But first, I want to see if Tony Bell knows this answer. We love to test Tony Bell's skills on air because he is really
well. Before you get into that,
I didn't even know. I figured the Vikings had the most, but I want to know how many division titles, Tony Bell, have the Minnesota Vikings won?
Technically, they're going to say 21. Yes. But they won 2 Central Divisions in 68 and 69, so they've won 23.
Tony Bell knows that. I'm looking at just the fact that they won 21, so they're not giving credit.
What they're doing is they're starting with 21 at 70. They're starting it at the merge.
Look at it. If we were to look at division titles in the NFC Central /North, Minnesota Vikings are still number 1. There it is. 21, Packer 23. Tony's updating that.
23,
17.
The Packers Packers have 18.
Okay, so
because they won it in 67.
What about the Bears? Bears might have had a few too that we're not giving them.
No.
Okay, they're and look at here's what's really surprising: the Lions have only won 5. I mean, even back in the Lombardi days, in the days of when they were good. They only have won 5. Barry Sanders.
Well, put it this way: in the 60s, they had, after Bobby Lane retired, they still had good teams in the 60s. Problem was they couldn't beat the Packers. Just like in the 70s, they had good teams, but they couldn't beat the Vikings.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Oh, final score update: Seattle wins it 13-3.
It's final. The Seattle Seahawks. Sam Darnold did not see ghosts today.
You know what he did? You know what he did look like he saw some ghosts, but I'll tell you what. Purdy looked worse.
So the Seahawks, number 1 seed in the
they're the number 1 seed.
Home field advantage. Wow. Congratulations to Coach McDonald and that whole organization. The Seahawks are going on. Yeah, we'll get into this. We're going to preview our tomorrow we'll do a wrap-up, and then next week we'll sort of do what is on your 2026 Vikings wish list. My lovely wife /quality control put what's the big 3 for tomorrow. the big three is only big one. Just win, baby. Just win impressively. Okay, we don't need any facts. Harrison Smith's last game, Flores could be his last game. Just win, because even Jacobs, I put the picture of Jacobs on there. He's not
playing.
He's not playing. None of them are playing. This is a preseason game for them, but we will see those gorgeous uniforms that Justin Jefferson's wearing in that picture. So just win, baby. So let's get to it. Predictions on our page. Some of you on our Facebook page have chimed in. Anthony Tollison, who's always a fan of our show, thank you for watching, Anthony, has the Vikings winning a low-scoring affair, 17-10. Cordell Christensen has the Vikings winning 28-13. So, Tony Bell, your final thoughts and predictions for tomorrow.
Twofold. First of all, nobody cares. Who cares? It's just a glorified preseason game.
It really is. But it is the Packers, Tony, right? And you know what? Anytime you play the Packers, I don't care where it is. Could be at a Pop Warner Field for a charity. I want the Vikings to win. I just do.
Okay. I'm just going to be point blank honest. Could you please put the parental advisory up there?
There we go. Tony's on a roll tonight.
I'm just going to be perfectly honest. I'm just going to be, when I say this at the bottom of my heart, fuck Green Bay and fuck Wisconsin. So with that being said, Minnesota wins 24-13, but it will be the last game in purple for Harrison Smith, Brian Flores,
probably a lot of others,
Josh McCown, Chris Cooper, hopefully,
probably Aaron Jones,
and the wild card in it all, Keenan McCardle.
Yeah, the Vikings are going to have a lot of new coaches next year, is what it looks like. And for my final thoughts, it's this. Listen, I don't want any of the Minnesota media to get too excited by what happens tomorrow if the Vikings do win. I don't want to hear anyone say that it's a positive at the end of the year. I don't want to see the spin doctors.
Then, Eric, do yourself a big deal. If you don't want to hear that, do not listen to KFAN here in the Twin Cities.
No, I'm not going to.
Listen to Paul Allen spew his BS because he is going to – it's going to be all
what a great coaching job by KOC, with all the different quarterbacks. Really, what a great coaching job.
It's gonna
zero playoff wins in his career.
Yep.
Quality control. Can you put the parental advisory up? Because let's just put it to you bluntly, Minnesota. The 2025-2026 Minnesota Vikings season fucking sucked.
Parental discretion advised.
Yes. Horrible. Disgraceful. Super Bowl aspirations. Failure. Kwesi. Failure. KOC. Epic failure. The quarterback situation. Failure. Lots of things. Defense, not so much. Defense got it together. Defense played well. Brian Flores, one of the positives. Jalen Redmond, Will Reichert, positives. But this season, in a nutshell, horrible. But you know what? Tomorrow, when I sit down in my lovely family room, still with the Christmas tree up to the right, what I want to watch tomorrow is J.J. McCarthy put up the game of his life. And, you know what? All his haters out there, there's a ton of them are going to say, it was a meaningless game, and the Packers had their B level. I don't care.
Still counts.
Go into the offseason winning impressively, having a 3 or 4 touchdown game, which he could have. I think the Minnesota Vikings are going to win 72-2. Vikings 72-2, epic score. And, of course, all the media will be like, see what you're going to get. Look how great this team finished, blah, blah, blah. No. All right, they're going to score a lot, probably more defensive touchdowns than they've ever had in the history of one game because of who they're playing. I think Flores is going to go crazy with the blitz. I think the Vikings will have 4 or 5 turnovers in this game. They had, 6 versus the Lions, correct? 6 or 5 or 6?
They had 5 or 6, yeah.
So they're going to match that tomorrow, yet they're going to score points because they'll actually have a quarterback that can throw a forward pass.
Aren't the Vikings on 10 days rest?
Yeah, they had a little extra rest. I mean, there's a lot of people will say this, Tony, too, though. Again, should J.J. McCarthy be quarterback tomorrow? Because
I'm gonna put it out there. Should he be playing tomorrow? Hell yes, he needs the reps.
Yeah, he needs the reps. I agree.
Because here's the thing: this will probably
go out on the season with.
This will probably be his last real competition until training camp, and he's not going to play in preseason, maybe
No.
one snap.
No.
That's the way that KOC
That's how
does it.
KOC runs. He doesn't
Yeah.
believe in preseason.
So give him as many reps as you can right now because he needs God knows he needs them.
He does. And I think, listen, I want to see an impressive game. Obviously, we'll all be watching for Harrison Smith to get his 40th interception in a stellar career that's coming to an end possibly tomorrow. And then we want Justin Jefferson to get the 53 yards to get to 1,000. So at least we can say that this JJ or the Vikings quarterbacks didn't fail him completely. He still got 1,000 yards.
I think, you know what? I think JJ probably gets that 53 yards on one play.
He might. I think here's the other thing to watch. We leave you with this. I want to hear from you on this, Tony. You can have some fun here after you watch the show. Let us know how many passes Kevin O'Connell's going to dial up for 30 or more yards. I'm going to say he's going to dial up 7 passes, deep strikes, and even if they're winning by 2 or 3 touchdowns, he's going to be throwing it because why not? It's a meaningless game. KOC is going to tinker and play with his offensive playbook, and let's just hope JJ gets one of those and gets it out of the way early.
You say 7?
Yeah, I think 7 30-yard passes.
I'm going to say between 10 and 15.
Wow. And so, this is sort of kind of concerning, Tony, because that means JJ's got to step back, 5 or 6 step drop with that offensive line, and Justin School's playing tomorrow. We got a backup center. Michael Juergens, I believe, is playing tomorrow. Or maybe Brandel. Excuse me, it could be Brandel. But
Brandel might be playing tackle because O'Neal is banged up.
So we're going to have a makeshift offensive line, and you're going to ask J.J. McCarthy to possibly put himself in harm's way. But you know what? The Packers aren't going to be playing anyone that should be getting to him. So
Packers are probably going to play the most vanilla game they've played all year.
Yeah,
when I say
this
that,
is like they're going to use those X's and O's preseason.
They're not going to dial. They're not going to dial up a bunch of blitzes. No. They're not going to run certain things. It's just going to be pretty much.
They'll probably double up Justin Jefferson though. If you want to try to be somewhat competitive, just double him up. Maybe you'll get a forced pass that way because they'll know that.
Well, then that leaves Addison one-on-one. So watch Addison have a big game now.
Yeah, I watch Addison, and that's a thing that we'll talk about next week when we kind of wrap up the season. That was one of the bigger disappointments in my book. Has to be Jordan Addison for everything that I thought he was going to be. He turned out not to be, and his relationship with JJ, which I thought was going to be so great. Well, we'll see tomorrow where that is. And, the big question, Tony, to ask is, do they keep Jordan Addison? That's another off-season thing.
Another off-season question.
That we'll have to get to. But for Tony Bell, for Quality Control, for all those that have been watching here on our program, thank you for doing so. We will be back tomorrow right after the Packers-Vikings game. So we say to you, have a wonderful Saturday night and Skol.
It's been a fun season. We'll be back after the Packers-Vikings game from US Bank Stadium to break down the good, the bad, and the ugly. Remember, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and tell your friends about us. Skol!